Imagine Tennessee in the summertime. The air is thick and warm, like a blanket fresh from the dryer. Fireflies blink in the trees as the sun starts to dip low, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. And tonight? Tonight is extra special because Elvis Presley is in town. The whole place is buzzing with excitement. Grown-ups are dressed in their best clothes, some even trying to copy Elvis with slicked back hair and sparkly shirts. Kids are running around, full of energy, waving little Elvis flags. You can smell popcorn and cotton candy, and hear people laughing and talking, all mixed with the twangy sound of guitars warming up on stage. The concert is happening in a big field, with a huge stage set up at one end. Thousands of people are packed together, shoulder to shoulder, all waiting for Elvis. The music starts, a slow, building beat that makes your heart thump faster. Then, BM. The lights flash, the crowd roars, and there he is, Elvis. He's even more amazing in real life than in pictures. His hair is jet black and shiny, and his smile could light up the whole state of Tennessee. He's wearing a white suit with sparkly things all over it, and he moves like a cat, all smooth and cool. The girls are screaming, the guys are cheering, and even the grown-ups are acting like kids again. It's like all the happiness in the world has been squeezed into this one field, all because of the magic of Elvis. This was going to be a night no one would ever forget, especially one little boy who held a secret close to his heart. But amidst all the sparkly jumpsuits and screaming fans, there was one person who wasn't just there to have a good time. He had a very important mission. Near the front of the stage, right by the strong metal fence where the security guards stood, was a boy named Billy. Billy wasn't like the other kids at the concert. He wasn't jumping up and down or waving a flag. He was small for his age, only 10 years old, and his brown hair was a mess, like he'd just woken up from a nap, or maybe hadn't slept at all. He wore a simple t-shirt and jeans, and his sneakers were scuffed from playing in the dirt. But what really made Billy stand out was the envelope he clutched tightly to his chest. It wasn't a shiny, new envelope. It looked worn and crinkled, like it had been carried around for a long time. It was addressed in shaky handwriting, and you could tell it held something very precious inside. Billy's eyes were wide and determined. He was trying so hard to get the attention of the security guards. He'd peek around them, tug on their sleeves, and even tried to squeeze past them, but they were big and strong and didn't seem to notice him at all. He kept calling out, "Please, sir! Please! I need to talk to Elvis!" His voice was small and a little bit shaky, but you could hear the desperation in it. It was clear this wasn't just some ordinary fan trying to get closer to their idol. This was something much more important, something that weighed heavily on Billy's small shoulders and made him push past his fear and shyness, all for someone he loved very much. The security guards, big men with serious faces, weren't used to dealing with kids. They were there to protect Elvis and keep the crowd safe, and a small boy tugging at their sleeves was just a nuisance. They kept telling him to go back to his parents, assuming he was lost or just wanted an autograph. "Son, you can't be here," one of them said, his voice booming over the music. "It's not safe. Go find your mom and dad." But Billy didn't give up. He knew he had to get through. He pleaded with them, his voice growing more desperate with each passing minute. "Please, sir! It's really important. It's about my sister. She's really sick." He explained, his voice cracking, that his sister, Lily, was in the hospital and couldn't be at the concert. Lily was Elvis's biggest fan. She knew all his songs, all his movies, everything. Getting to see Elvis perform was her biggest dream, but now she was too sick to even leave her bed. That's where the envelope came in. Lily had written a letter to Elvis, telling him how much his music meant to her. She wanted Billy to give it to him, hoping that maybe, just maybe, Elvis would read it and know how much joy he brought to her life, even when she was feeling her worst. But the guards weren't listening. They just kept pushing Billy back, telling him to move along. He was starting to feel hopeless, like he was never going to get through. The music was getting louder, the crowd was getting wilder, and Billy felt like he was about to burst into tears. He had promised Lily he would deliver her letter, and he couldn't let her down. He just needed Elvis to know, he just needed a chance. He tried one last time, pushing against the barrier with all his might, shouting above the roar of the crowd. "Please! It's for Lily! She loves you!" Just when Billy thought all hope was lost, something amazing happened. Elvis, in the middle of singing, "Hound Dog," suddenly stopped. The music faded, the lights dimmed a little, and a hush fell over the crowd. Everyone wondered what was going on. Elvis squinted, looking towards the commotion near the security barrier. He had seen the guards pushing someone back, and he could sense something wasn't right. He pointed towards the area and asked, his voice echoing through the speakers, "What's going on over there?" One of the security guards, a little flustered, leaned into his microphone. "It's nothing, Elvis," he said. "Just a boy trying to get through. We're taking care of it." But Elvis wasn't satisfied. He had a good heart, and he could see the distress in the boy's eyes, even from the stage. He knew that sometimes, even the smallest person could have the biggest problem. He raised his hand, silencing the guard. "Just a boy?" he repeated, his voice filled with concern. "What's wrong? Why is he trying to get through?" The guard hesitated, unsure of what to say. He didn't want to bother Elvis with such a small matter, but he couldn't ignore the direct question. He says his sister is sick and he has a letter for you." Elvis's face softened. He knew how much his music meant to people, and he understood the power of a heartfelt message. He made a decision right then and there. "Let him through," he said firmly. "I want to talk to him." The crowd gasped. Nobody could believe what was happening. Elvis was stopping the show for a little boy. Billy's heart leaped with joy. He had a chance. The security guards, looking embarrassed, finally let Billy through the barrier. He walked slowly, almost in a daze, towards the stage. He couldn't believe this was actually happening. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was waiting for him. But instead of just waving him closer, Elvis did something even more surprising. He stepped right off the stage. The crowd went wild, reaching out to touch him, but the security guards quickly formed a circle around him, keeping everyone back. Elvis didn't seem to notice the chaos. His eyes were fixed on Billy. He walked right up to Billy and, instead of towering over him, he knelt down, bringing himself to the boy's level. It was a simple gesture, but it meant the world to Billy. Elvis wasn't just a star, he was a real person, someone who cared. "Hi there," Elvis said, his voice gentle and kind. "I hear you have something for me." Billy, still a little starstruck, could barely speak. He clutched the envelope even tighter, his knuckles white. He managed to nod, his eyes wide with a mixture of nervousness and excitement. He slowly extended his arm, offering the worn envelope to Elvis. This is from my sister Lily," he stammered, his voice trembling. She couldn't be here tonight. She's really sick." Elvis took the envelope with a soft smile. "I'm so sorry to hear that, son," he said. "I'm sure she's a very special girl." He looked at the envelope, recognizing the shaky handwriting and the worn edges. He knew this letter wasn't just a fan letter. It was something much more personal, something that came straight from the heart. He held it carefully, treating it like it was made of gold. He knew he was about to read something very important, something that would touch his heart in a way he couldn't imagine. As the crowd murmured with anticipation, Elvis carefully opened the envelope. He unfolded the letter, his eyes scanning the page. The stage lights glinted off the sequins on his jumpsuit as he read Lily's words. Lily's letter wasn't long, but it was filled with love and admiration. She wrote about how Elvis's music made her feel happy, even when she was sad. She talked about how she loved to dance and sing along to his songs, pretending she was on stage with him. She said that even though she was stuck in the hospital, listening to his music made her feel free. Elvis read each word slowly and carefully, his expression changing as he went. A small frown creased his forehead as he learned about Lily's illness. Then, A gentle smile touched his lips as he read about her love for his music. He could feel the warmth and sincerity in her words, and it touched him deeply. He looked up from the letter, his eyes filled with emotion. He could see the hope and worry in Billy's face, and he knew he had to do something special for this brave little boy and his sister. He understood the power of music and the importance of spreading joy, especially to those who needed it most. He took a deep breath and looked out at the crowd. He knew they were all waiting for him to continue the show, but he couldn't just go back to singing and dancing as if nothing had happened. He had been given a gift, a connection to a little girl who needed a little bit of Elvis magic in her life. He knew exactly what he had to do. The music would have to wait. Lily came first. He turned back to Billy, his eyes filled with warmth. He gently placed a hand on Billy's shoulder, his touch surprisingly light. "Son," he said, his voice soft and sincere, "is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to tell me, or maybe tell everyone here tonight?" Billy looked up at Elvis, his heart pounding in his chest. He had never spoken in front of so many people before. He was just a small, ordinary boy, and now he was standing face to face with the king of rock and roll, with thousands of eyes watching him. He felt a lump forming in his throat, and his hands started to shake. He thought about Lily, lying in her hospital bed, her face pale but her eyes still shining with love for Elvis. He thought about how much she wanted to be here tonight, how much she loved his music. He knew he had to be brave for her. He took a deep breath and looked out at the crowd. He could see faces of all ages, all looking at him with curiosity and kindness. He saw people holding up lighters and waving Elvis flags. He felt a surge of courage, knowing that they were all here because they loved Elvis, just like Lily did. He opened his mouth, and the words came out in a rush, his voice trembling but filled with emotion. my sister Lily, she really loves you, Elvis," he said, his voice cracking. She's really sick, and she couldn't come tonight. She wanted me to give you her letter, and she wanted me to tell you that your music makes her happy, even when she's feeling really bad." He paused, tears welling up in his eyes. "She wishes she could be here. She wishes she could see you sing." A wave of emotion swept through the crowd. People started clapping and cheering, showing their support for Billy and Lily. Some were even wiping away tears. Elvis looked at Billy with a mixture of sadness and admiration. He knew how hard it must have been for him to stand up there and speak in front of so many people. He pulled Billy closer and gave him a warm, comforting hug. "You're a very brave young man," he whispered in his ear. "Your sister is lucky to have you." He stepped back and looked at Billy, his eyes sparkling with an idea. "Tell you what," he said, his voice ringing with enthusiasm. "How would you like to sit right here, on the side of the stage, for the rest of the show? You can have the best seat in the house, and you can watch me sing all Lily's favorite songs." Billy's eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Really?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Elvis smiled. "Really," he said. "And after the show, maybe we can even take a picture together, so you can show Lily when you visit her." Billy's face lit up like a Christmas tree. He nodded eagerly, unable to find the words to express his gratitude. He felt like he was in a dream that was even better than anything he could have imagined. Elvis turned to one of the security guards and gave him a nod. The guard quickly cleared a space on the side of the stage, near the amplifiers and the musicians. He helped Billy up onto the stage, making sure he was safe and comfortable. Billy sat down, his legs dangling over the edge, his heart filled with joy and excitement. He couldn't wait to tell Lily all about it. He knew that even though she couldn't be here, she would be so happy for him. And he knew that somehow, she was watching him, smiling down from above, feeling the magic of Elvis all the way in her hospital bed. Elvis picked up his microphone and looked out at the crowd, his expression serious but kind. "I want to dedicate this next song to a very special young lady," he said, his voice resonating through the speakers. "Her name is Lily, and she couldn't be here tonight because she's not feeling well. But her brother Billy is here, and he told me how much she loves my music." The crowd erupted in applause, showing their support for Lily. Elvis smiled, feeling the love and warmth radiating from the audience. He knew that Lily would have been thrilled to hear all those people cheering for her. He took a deep breath and began to sing. It wasn't one of his usual upbeat, rock and roll songs. Instead, he chose a slower, more heartfelt ballad, a song about hope and love and never giving up. He sang with all his heart and soul, pouring every ounce of his emotion into the lyrics. Billy sat on the side of the stage, mesmerized. He had never heard Elvis sing like this before. It was like he was singing just for Lily, just for him. He closed his eyes and let the music wash over him, feeling a sense of peace and comfort he hadn't felt in a long time. He knew that Lily was listening too, wherever she was. He could almost feel her presence beside him, singing along to the words, her face glowing with happiness. As Elvis sang, Billy looked around at the crowd. He saw people swaying and holding hands, their faces lit by the stage lights. He saw tears streaming down some faces, and smiles on others. He realized that Elvis's music wasn't just about entertainment. It was about connecting with people, about sharing emotions, about bringing people together. And tonight, it was about bringing hope to a little girl who needed it more than anything. After the song ended, the crowd erupted in thunderous applause. Elvis walked over to Billy, still sitting on the side of the stage, and knelt down beside him again. He looked at Billy with a warm smile and said, "I hope you liked that song, son. I sang it just for Lily." Billy nodded, his eyes shining with tears. "It was beautiful, Elvis," he said. "Thank you." Elvis put his arm around Billy's shoulder and gave him a gentle squeeze. "Is there anything else I can do for you, son?" he asked. "Anything else you need?" Billy thought for a moment. He had already gotten to meet Elvis, sit on the side of the stage, and hear him dedicate a song to Lily. He couldn't think of anything else he could possibly want. But then, an idea popped into his head. He looked up at Elvis, his eyes filled with hope. Could you maybe say hi to Lily?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Just so she knows you're thinking of her?" Elvis's face lit up. "That's a great idea, son," he said. He picked up his microphone and held it close to his mouth. He looked out at the crowd, his expression sincere and heartfelt. "I want to say hi to a very special young lady who's watching us from afar," he said, his voice echoing through the speakers. "Her name is Lily, and she's a very big fan of mine. Lily, if you're watching, I want you to know that I'm thinking of you, and I'm sending you all my love and best wishes. I hope you feel better soon, and I can't wait to meet you in person someday." He paused for a moment, then added with a wink, "And maybe, just maybe, we can even sing a duet together." The crowd roared with applause, showing their support for Lily and their admiration for Elvis's kindness and generosity. Billy sat on the side of the stage, beaming with pride and happiness. He knew that Lily was listening, and he knew that Elvis's words would mean the world to her. He felt like the luckiest boy in the world. He had come to the concert with a mission, and he had accomplished it beyond his wildest dreams. He had brought a little bit of Elvis magic to his sister, and he knew that it would make her feel better, even if just for a little while. And that, he thought, was the best feeling in the world. The rest of the concert was a blur of music and lights and excitement. Billy sat on the side of the stage, watching Elvis perform with a newfound appreciation. He knew that Elvis wasn't just a singer, he was a kind and generous person who cared about his fans. Elvis sang all of Lily's favorite songs, and Billy sang along, his voice filled with joy. He clapped and cheered and danced in his seat, feeling like he was part of the show. He even caught Elvis's eye a few times, and Elvis gave him a wink and a smile. During one of the slower songs, Elvis walked over to Billy and handed him his microphone. "Why don't you sing along, son?" he said, his voice encouraging. "I bet Lily would love to hear you." Billy hesitated for a moment. He had never sung in front of a crowd before. But he knew that Lily would want him to, so he took the microphone and started to sing. His voice was a little shaky at first, but as he sang, he gained confidence. He knew all the words to the song, and he sang them with all his heart. The crowd cheered and clapped along, encouraging him. When the song was over, Elvis took the microphone back and gave Billy a high five. "You were great, son," he said. "You have a beautiful voice. I think Lily would be very proud of you." Billy blushed with pride. He had never felt so happy in his life. He had not only brought joy to his sister, but he had also discovered a new talent of his own. He knew that he would never forget this night, the night he met Elvis Presley and sang on stage in front of thousands of people. It was a night that would change his life forever. And it was all thanks to the kindness and generosity of one very special singer. As the concert drew to a close, Billy knew that this was not just the end of a show, but the beginning of a beautiful story, a story of love, hope, and the magic of Elvis. After the concert, true to his word, Elvis made sure Billy got his picture taken with him. Billy stood next to Elvis, his face beaming, holding the worn envelope with Lily's letter. Elvis put his arm around Billy, pulling him close. The flashbulb popped, capturing the moment forever. Before Billy left, Elvis knelt down beside him one last time. He looked Billy in the eyes, his expression serious. "I want you to do something for me," he said. Billy nodded eagerly. "Anything, Elvis," he said. "I want you to go visit Lily tomorrow," Elvis said. "And I want you to tell her everything that happened tonight. Tell her about the songs, about the crowd, about the picture. Tell her that I'm thinking of her and that I can't wait to meet her." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, silver charm. It was shaped like a guitar, and it sparkled in the light. "Give this to Lily," Elvis said. "Tell her it's a good luck charm. And tell her to never stop believing in her dreams." Billy took the charm, his fingers trembling. He couldn't believe Elvis was being so kind and generous. He felt like he was holding a piece of Elvis' magic in his hand. "Thank you, Elvis," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "Thank you for everything." Elvis smiled and gave Billy a final hug. "You're welcome, son," he said. "Now go home and get some rest. You've had a long night." Billy walked away, squeezed her hand. He knew that even though Lily was still sick, she was filled with hope and happiness. And he knew that the magic of Elvis had played a big part in that. Lily kept the guitar charm with her always. She hung it on her hospital bed, and she looked at it whenever she felt sad or scared. It reminded her of Elvis's kindness and generosity, and it reminded her to never stop believing in her dreams. As the days and weeks went by, Lily slowly started to get better. The doctors were amazed at her progress. They said that her positive attitude and her unwavering hope had played a big role in her recovery. One day, Lily was finally well enough to leave the hospital. Billy was there to pick her up, his face beaming with joy. They hugged each other tightly, tears streaming down their faces. As they walked out of the hospital, Lily looked up at the sky and smiled. She knew that she had been given a second chance, and she was determined to make the most of it. She was going to live her life to the fullest, and she was going to never forget the magic of Elvis and the kindness of her little brother. And who knows? Maybe someday, she would even get to meet Elvis in person and sing a duet with him. Because in the world of dreams and music, anything is possible. The end. Or is it? The story of Elvis, Billy and Lily is one that will inspire everyone who hears it. It is a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can have a big impact, and that the power of music can heal and bring people together. But the story doesn't end there. Years later, Lily, fully recovered and brimming with life, decided to become a singer herself. She remembered the kindness that Elvis had shown her and her brother, and she wanted to share that same joy with others through her music. She started small, singing in local cafes and bars. Her voice was beautiful and powerful, and she poured her heart and soul into every song. People were drawn to her energy and her passion, and she quickly gained a following. One day, Lily got the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to audition for a major record label. She was nervous, but she knew that she had to give it her all. She remembered Elvis's words of encouragement, and she held the silver guitar charm tightly in her hand. She walked onto the stage and started to sing. Her voice soared through the room, filling it with emotion. The judges were blown away. They had never heard anything like it before. After the audition, the judges gathered around Lily and told her that they wanted to sign her to a record deal. Lily was overjoyed. She had finally achieved her dream. Her first album was a huge success. Her songs topped the charts, and she became a household name. She traveled the world, performing for thousands of fans. And every time she stepped on stage, she remembered Elvis and the kindness he had shown her. She knew that without him, she wouldn't be where she was today. One night, Lily was performing in Las Vegas. As she looked out at the crowd, she saw a familiar face, Billy, her little brother. He was standing near the front of the stage, holding up a sign that read, "Thank you, Elvis." Lily smiled and dedicated her next song to her brother and to the memory of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, the man who had changed her life forever. And as she sang, she knew that Elvis was watching. Down from above, smiling and singing along with her. He was proud of her, and he was grateful for the opportunity to have made a difference in her life. And so, the story of Elvis, Billy, and Lily became a legend, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can have a ripple effect, changing lives and bringing joy to the world. It is a story that will be told for generations to come, a testament to the power of music, the importance of hope, and the magic of Elvis Presley. But what happened to the silver guitar charm? Lily kept it with her always, wearing it as a necklace and carrying it with her wherever she went. It became her symbol of hope, her reminder of Elvis's kindness, and her inspiration to never stop believing in her dreams. And every time she looked at it, she remembered that little boy with messy brown hair, standing near the security barrier, clutching a worn envelope, determined to bring a little bit of Elvis magic to his sick sister. She knew that without him, none of this would have been possible. So, the next time you hear an Elvis song, or see a silver guitar charm, remember the story of Elvis, Billy, and Lily. Remember the power of kindness, the importance of hope, and the magic of music. And remember that even the smallest person can make a big difference in the world. And that, my friends, is the true story of how Elvis Presley changed the lives of 2 children forever. It's a story that reminds us that even in the midst of all the glitz and glamour, true kindness and compassion can shine through, leaving a lasting legacy of love and hope. A story worth telling, a story worth remembering. And even though Elvis is no longer with us, his music and his spirit live on. He touched the lives of millions of people, and his legacy of kindness and generosity will never be forgotten. So, let's all take a lesson from Elvis, Billy, and Lily. Let's be kind to one another, let's never give up hope, and let's always remember the power of music to heal and bring people together. Let's be the kind of people who stop the show for a little boy with a worn envelope. Let's be the kind of people who offer a hug to someone who is feeling sad. Let's be the kind of people who dedicate a song to someone who needs a little bit of joy in their life. Because in the end, it's not about the glitz and glamour, it's not about the fame and fortune, it's about the connections we make with one another, and the kindness we show to those around us. It's about leaving the world a little bit better than we found it. And that, my friends, is the true meaning of rock and roll. It's about love, hope, and the power of music to change the world. So, let's all turn up the music, let's spread some love, and let's make the world a better place, one song at a time. Just like Elvis would have wanted us to. Thank you. Thank you very much.